Jets and Giants traded places this week. Now the Jets laying a massive egg and the Giants taking it to the limit with the Cowboys only to lose. In the end, both teams left a bag of shit on their fans' laps. It was a tough one here in northern New Jersey. This is week 2 episode of The Forced Fumble. I am JD. I'm not JD. I'm D-Pro. I am joined by JD and Chewbacca. See, my initials are JD. It's a tough one. This is The Forced Fumble. Follow us on Instagram and YouTube at The Forced Fumble. Subscribe to us on Apple and Spotify. Leave us a nice little review. We'd be much obliged. It was a tough one here. As a Jets fan, I don't want to be pulled in. It was an embarrassment. As many embarrassing losses as I've witnessed, this was another tough one to be non-competitive. But that's the way of the world here in northern Jersey. So how did you guys feel about it? Did you watch any of the games? And were you entertained by this really, really super entertaining Giants loss to the Cowboys in OT?
The Jets really, God, it was just all Bills, it seemed. But as far as the Giants go, they were looking okay, but ending drives with, anytime you're going to be settling for field goals and not scoring touchdowns, there's a good chance even though you might be taking the lead, that you're not going to win the game. And as that played out, the Giants just did what the Giants do. It doesn't matter that they scored 37 points. I honestly thought last week when the Jets put up 32, I joked that we might get to week 4 or 5 before the Giants score 32 points. They had a offensive barrage for them, but they still did what the Giants lately do, and that's come up empty.
Yeah, there were in the Giants game? 7 lead changes, I think. Giants Cowboys
had to be. It was 6-0, then it was maybe 6-3 or 7. It's nuts. I can go to scoring plays here, but yeah, it was.
Yeah, everyone
nuts.
was touting this as an amazing game, and I'm like, okay, but yes, there was a lot of back and forth lead change. It was like a real sloppy game, though, in my estimation, like blown coverages everywhere kind of thing, which I don't really enjoy. It reminded me more of like 2 drunk uncles fighting over like a chair at a family party or something.
That's exactly. I love. That's really entertaining. I'll take that.
Exactly. No, it's fine. It's just not some instant classic like people are going off on.
Exactly, instant classic. You can't. There's a difference between entertaining and amazing. Like, if you love defense, then the game was probably not amazing. But one thing, whether you go for that kind of football or not, you can't dispute that many lead changes like a basketball game.
Right.
That's entertaining. That's entertaining.
Is. No doubt about it.
Entertaining, but also, Chewbacca, very stressful for yours truly, because I had selected Dallas in your world-renowned survivor pool. And honestly, when Malik Neighbors got that touchdown, I think it's 25 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter. Beautiful rainbow toss from Russell Wilson, who had a hell of a game. I accepted my fate. I just saw The Long Walk, the Stephen King book that just got turned into a movie with my son. And there are a couple of guys in this movie who accept their fate. Like, I'm going to die and I'm okay with that. That's how I felt in this game. I accepted I'm going to lose in this pool early and I'm going to have no stress going forward. And that's okay. And then Brandon Aubrey with his otherworldly leg kicks this 64 friggin' yarder like it's nothing. It sent me to the next round of your survivor pool. I'm excited, but a little nervous because that means more stress for me.
I will say this about Brandon Aubrey. He's putting up enough points to be considered the actual QB1 in Dallas, in my opinion. It's like
20 points, I think.
The offense should just get out of Brandon Aubrey's way in Dallas at this point, in my opinion. So let's see that. But
I was at my daughter's soccer game, right? So she's 10, not a high level of competitiveness at this age, right? So, and I'm trying to watch the Jets game on my phone. Big mistake. So they're getting killed most weeks, 4-0, 5-0. So I'm sitting there for a good hour and a half watching the Jets not put up anything. Justin Fields put up 27 effing yards passing. And I just wanted to go and do literally anything else. Just say F sports forever. I don't want to watch sports. As much as I love watching my daughter when she wasn't in the game, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Watching a 5-0 soccer game and a 30-10 Buffalo trouncing of the New York Jets. It was just an embarrassment.
So D-Pro, Justin Fields' stat line looked like the Wi-Fi signal at your house. It was 3 out of 11 with no connection happening.
That's not fair. That is not fair at all. I will defend my Wi-Fi connection.
That's about as fair. To quote the dad from Bluey, it's about as fair gets, really.
But D-Pro, I do have to shift away from your internet connection over to what's going on now with the Jets. And as a Jets fan, I want your take here and just hear me out. 10 points 10 laughs from me as a non-Jets fan today. I mean, is this the culture shift that you were looking for that Aaron Glenn promised? Your defense was on PTO for a second week in a row. What's going on here, kind of thing?
Look, after week one, they looked prepared. You know, the offensive line was moving, things were gelling, the offense looked functional, very surprising, right? And they got rid of Xavier Gibson after that fumble. So we said, okay, he's setting an example here. He's changing the culture. Maybe this is what's going to happen. And then this week they came out and they said laid an egg, looked completely unprepared, got pushed around all over the field, couldn't move the ball. And I would say this is where Aaron Glenn is going to prove his mettle. What he does after an embarrassing loss like this and how they come out of this is going to say a lot about the kind of coach that he is. And that's the kind of fan I've become now. I don't get super embarrassed and pissed off about losses. I start thinking about, okay, how is this coach going to potentially change the culture and trajectory of this team, if at all?
He's not, and I'll tell you why he's not. Because,
all right,
you know, you guys know I wasn't that dialed in on this game, but if you would have asked any Jets fan, if you would have asked any Jets coaching personnel, front office, would they have signed up for 14 for 25, 148 yards, no touchdowns, and a rating of 73.4 from Josh Allen? They would have signed up all day long.
Yep.
And they would have probably said, oh, if that happens, we probably are in a nail biter. This wasn't a nail biter. They lost by 3 freaking touchdowns. So if he's supposed to clean something up, whether it's defensively, offense, I mean, I don't know where the game went wrong. I don't know what the hell happened, but whatever culture issue the Jets have been having since pick a date, this Glenn guy is not the one to fix it. Sorry. I'm talking about the head coaches that the Johnsons have brought in are just laughable. They're just laughable.
I agree. I do.
But the Jets should have gone and gotten somebody that, I don't know, that gets you going, gets you excited. And maybe for the Jet fan loyal fan base, maybe they got excited about this guy, but not impressed. And I think it's going to be more of the same this season, but it's been more of the same since 1969. So
I'm reserving judgment until we see how he handles adversity. And he's going to have a lot of it. So we'll see.
You mentioned earlier, D-Pro, the eliminator thing. So I had Arizona hosting Carolina. So I had the short king. What's that?
Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, so I had the short king showdown between Bryce Young and Kyler Murray going. It was weird because Carolina started coming back. But then when you see Bryce Young attempt a 2-minute drill to attempt to win the game, when you see Bryce Young scrambling around the pocket like a toddler trying to get the last Capri Sun, it is downright laughable. I was nervous for a second.
25 yards in the wrong direction.
Yeah, exactly. I was nervous for a second. I was like, oh, look at this little guy. He's adorable. So I wasn't that nervous with my eliminator pick after all, even though there was a little bit of threat from Captain Stepstool, Bryce Young.
So I begged Marietta this morning, again, whose name in the survivor pool is, what's a survivor pool? I begged her, I said, put your pick in, talk to Chat GPT, whatever you're going to do, put your pick in. And she didn't do it. And I'm on my way to my open house and she texts me Bills. And I'm like, okay, but I'm driving. So I didn't put it right in. Next thing I know, it's like 1:47, and I realize I never put in Bills for her.
Oh.
So I text her and I said, I knew you should have, you know, I told you to make a pick this morning. I said, I gave you the Cardinals because I forgot to put in the Bills. And she's doing the eye roll and you suck and all that. And she had to literally,
husband of the year.
She had to sweat out Arizona, Carolina. And she's like yelling at me. It's like, listen, for these eliminator pools, Survivor, whatever, get your pick in. Your pick is your responsibility. Get it in.
Laying it on the wife thick. Do you make her fill out a self-addressed envelope or whatever with a stamp on it and mail it to your own home?
Put it outside.
What do you mean, for her payment for the pool?
Yeah.
I get paid in trade.
Ooh, hey-oh. That's my boy. That's my boy. Yeah.
So the Bills blew out the Jets, right? Can you imagine if the Jets come out next week against Tampa Bay and they blow them the hell out of the building in Raymond James Stadium or wherever it is with those stupid.
I can't imagine that even a little.
Score. My
So
favorite is
lame.
when the Bucks are getting killed and
Yeah.
they score a field goal and they shoot that stupid cannon off.
Yeah, it's like 3. They shoot 1 free score, right? So it's like 3.
Yes.
Oh,
So, guys,
so lame.
I want to talk to you about fantasy football trades. They can help teams improve their roster, maybe if they didn't draft that well or they have an injured player. But the bad trades can absolutely ruin a league, can ruin karma, can ruin the vibes, can make people leave, right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about a situation I have in my current league and how you guys feel about it and how you feel like these types of situations should be approached as a commissioner. So we have this one league, and I'll call the guy Jim, and I'll call the other guy Dan. So Jim, it's a super flex league, basically 2-quarterback league. He got really drunk on draft night and just drafted really good quarterbacks. So he drafted Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Mahomes, a fourth guy, Jalen Hurts. And there was this other guy, Dan, who was pissed because that could kind of ruin the competitive balance of the league because he knew what was going to happen. And that happened this week. So he traded one of his 4 top 5 quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, for James Cook, who is, this week and last week, good week, right? But RB2, fringe RB1, and Quentin Johnston, who is flex at best, wide receiver. And essentially, the other guy, Dan, who is already had his eyebrow raised about this, is already saying he's out of the league next year because that's how pissed off he is about how he feels the competitive balance is being completely wrecked by one guy who didn't know what he was doing. So how do you guys feel about that?
As someone who lives and breathes fantasy, let me just throw out some real quick thoughts. That wasn't a trade. That was a hostage exchange, by the way. So that's not a trade. That's one of these like 2-for-1, 3. I hate stacked trades in fantasy. The 2-for-1s, the 3-for-1s.
Goofers, yeah.
They don't add up. It's not the sum of the
2 nickels
parts.
don't equal a dime in fantasy.
In fantasy, does not. So going back to the individual who's mad that that trade went down and this person hogged 4 quarterbacks in a 2-quarterback league. If I'm in the league and I'm putting $100 of my money down, I do expect some sort of fair level playing field. And, while neither of these individuals technically broke the rules, I do believe in some sort of unspoken respect and kind of code for how we carry ourselves and conduct ourselves in a league where we're each shelling out $100+.
Yeah. And I think what happened was the commissioner, who's a buddy of mine, he brought this guy who's a bit of a loose cannon, thinking he's into football and he's a lot of fun. Those are 2 things that we want to put together and create a really nice vibe. And he was a lot of fun on draft night, and I genuinely like him. You've met him too. But it wound up being this war words between them in the chat because Dan, I think the rational one here, is saying, like, what the hell are you doing? This is money's on the line, and not to sound like a dork, but we expect some level of decorum in a league where money's at stake, some level of competitive balance. And the other guy's being like, F you, like, I'm doing what I want to do and there's no rule against what I'm doing. But the downside of allowing something like this to happen is that you're going to have people like Dan who are going to leave the league. And then your league becomes a little bit different. It becomes a little bit more towards the unserious kind, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay if that's what you want your league to be. But then maybe it's not an auction because maybe people can't handle that. So those are the types of things that we need to consider, I think. Another thing to consider is having veto policies. I have pretty strong feelings on veto policies. For me, I think if you have
say veto, can you say veto?
Yeah, not Corleone.
Can you say veto?
Veto.
You're Italian. Say veto.
Veto.
Yeah, not
Thanks for interrupting me to say like absolutely nothing, by the way.
Veto. It's just annoying, You're Italian. You're the Italian guy. You guys are 2 Italian guys. Veto.
This is your only input. Your only contribution to this section is asking me to repeat what I just said.
So Chewbacca, you want us to say veto?
How do you want me to say it?
Veto.
You want us to? Do you want us to hit the
hold
T?
on. Hold on. Veto.
There's nothing. Am I doing that with my pinky when I drink?
No, but you may as well should with the way you pronounce veto.
He's saying we're saying it too posh, is what he's saying.
Oh, so I'm supposed to enunciate it like veto, like that?
Veto. He wants more like the like Greedo from Star Wars, like Veto.
Like Vito Spatafore from The Sopranos? Okay. How do you guys
EDO.
feel about
Veto.
Veto?
No,
How do you
No,
guys
don't
feel?
punch
I
the
cut
T.
you off completely. I just couldn't. It was hurting my ears.
Yeah,
I love shit like this, by the way.
speaking of hurting my ears, how do you guys feel about that? Because I think if you're in a league with a veto policy, that you're with adults, that you're in the wrong league. That's how I feel. Like, we're adults.
Agreed.
We don't need guardrails. It's kind of like if you go bowling with a bunch of adults and then they put up the friggin' bumpers. You know,
Oh,
it's
those
just
bumpers
not,
are fun though.
they're fun, but for a certain type of crowd. You know, if you're with serious bowlers, people who have like 180, 190 averages, you don't put the shit up because it kind of ruins the vibe that you got going.
I think every league should have them, but I don't know if it should be up to the commissioner. One person, that's too much power to give one person. I think everybody should be able to vote on it. And so long as it has a majority or whatever, but obviously that's a slippery slope as well. I'm not sure, but I don't think you could just let trades run rampant when somebody could be like, you know what, screw these guys. Remember the guy First or whatever his name was? He was
Mhm.
always
I remember.
proposing crazy trades. He was one of your buddies.
He
Yeah.
always threw a
Man,
kick around. Yeah.
He's a maniac.
he's
Trades.
a maniac. Well, you know, what if some of the he would freaking email me late at night with some random trades.
Oh, yeah.
I should have been able to be like, you know, too many bong hits in to say, yeah, sure. And then all of a sudden the league wakes up the next day. I'm 3-11. First has just boosted his, you know, and now all the other it's you need the system. You need the checks and balances.
I see.
I get that. However, see, I think you're assuming all owners in the league think equally. And you're I think being naive in that sense, and I don't mean that as a negative thing. I think that there will be owners in your league who just don't want another team to be successful and then will just automatically veto.
You're right.
I've seen that. So, haters,
All right, so then maybe you give it to the most, maybe not even necessarily the commissioner. Maybe the commissioner is the guy who knows how to bust balls to get everybody paid on time and is organized. But maybe somebody else, you unilaterally, all 11 or whatever many people agree, hey, JD's got the best head on his shoulders. He will be able to look at things fair and balanced, and he could be the one who has the veto power. But
Maybe then we'd
I
have to
think you
vote on who's the person who decides it. So that's a whole other thing, right?
I think you have to have it. And if I'm talking way above my head because I don't play fantasy anymore and I don't know how a lot of leagues run, but I just think you can't just have two guys trading at night before anybody, you know, else in the league has any idea, especially if you're coming into the playoffs.
One thing I wanted to bring up around trade culture that I despise in general is the back and forth with someone. So, two lines I absolutely despise. One is, "This is a better deal for you than it is for me." It- when you get sent a trade.
Isn't that what
The
your wife
other
said at your wedding?
Hey-oo. The second line is, I could also throw in Tank Bigsby, but I'm already giving up too much in this deal. You get those mercy, like, throw in a player, because and then it's inflated. So it's crazy to me. When you see people turn into salesmen, bad salesmen.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I got offered this week. I got offered Garrett Wilson, trying to pull at my heartstrings with the Jets fandom for Jaden Daniels. Are you fucking kidding?
No,
Are
and
you literally
especially in a super
kidding?
flex league, that is a no. Hard
Yeah,
no.
or any kind of league, but specifically, yes, a super flex league. Like, I love Garrett Wilson more than anybody, but come on now.
I have a question. When did these, sorry, but douchebag two quarterback leagues start? Like, is this a new thing? I've been years at it. I'm like probably almost 6 or 7 years out of fantasy at this point.
That's probably when it started.
Yeah, I'll sum it up super simple for you. The late round quarterback strategy is one that came on like a good 10, 12 years ago. And that said that, you know what, screw quarterback all the way down to like round 6, 7, 8, because you can just take any one of those and, it's fine. However, once you have to start two quarterbacks now, that adds the value back to the most important position in football, the quarterback. And so it makes the quarterback position very, very relevant again in your game.
So are you both in different? Justin, you said you're in 4 leagues or five? Four, four, four.
I'm 5, he's 4.
You're 5, and you're 4. So of the 9, How many 2 quarterback starting lineups leagues are you guys in?
3 out of my 4.
3 out of my 5.
3 out of your 5, so 6 out of 9. Wow.
It's big, yeah.
It's
And
been a minute since I've had my finger around the fantasy pulse.
It's a completely different strategy than drafting in I have another league, Justin and I are in another league where it's 1 quarterback and it's 4 points per passing touchdown, which that values the passing quarterback like completely the other end of the spectrum. So it's just a different drafting strategy.
In that league, I drafted Justin Herbert in the 10th, and I'm trotting him out every week, and I don't care. It's 4 points.
I drafted Justin Fields and never mind.
But so then peel back this onion. You had a problem with the guy drafting 4 quarterbacks and killing the competitive balance of the league when you have a 2 quarterback start. I feel like he's the smartest one in the room, and you guys are all a bunch of idiots.
Yeah, he's not.
No. Well, and then now he's the guy who's also being forced to start like Cedric Tillman as his like wide receiver 1.
Woody Marks, the guy who's getting like 12 yards rushing. So his team sucks. Like his starting lineup sucks.
And you can only start 2 quarterbacks, so why have 4 elite? It doesn't make any sense.
JD, whatever you do not tell Chewbacca who he beat week 1. Yes, he still beat me week 1.
He still beat you week 1. And you know what? If you don't have a veto rule, he'll probably dump one of those quarterbacks for like whatever the buy-in was whatever week. He can still do that.
Well, that's what he did do. We talked about that about 15 minutes ago. Do you remember?
No, yeah. No, I know.
Okay.
So, man,
yeah, you know what? Cheers to talking about football with my buddies. It's been fun. We're separated enough from the Giants and Jets games where I can remember why I love football and I love talking about it so much with you guys. So remember to follow us on Instagram, on YouTube at The Forced Fumble. Leave us a review on Apple. Check us out on Spotify and subscribe. We'll be back next week reviewing probably another epic collapse by one of the New York teams. Which one will it be this time? We'll have to tune in and find out one of life's greatest mysteries. We'll see you next time on The Forced Fumble.